Hello and welcome back to the course. My name is Piyush. This is day 9 in 30 days of AWS Terraform, and in this video we'll be looking into Terraform lifecycle rules. We'll understand everything, we'll do the demo, and at the end you will have a task that you need to do in the GitHub repository of day 9 folder. So make sure you do that, make sure you do the submission, and let's get started with this. So what exactly is a life cycle rule? Life cycle rule in Terraform is something that changes the behavior or that actually controls how a resource is being created or destroyed or updated in Terraform. Like, we need these life cycle rules to improve security, to improve accidental deletions of resources or accidental modification of resources in Terraform. It improves your infrastructure manageability and operationalize it, right? So there are different type of options that we have. First one is ignore changes. What it will do is, if there is ignore changes enabled, it will not do any changes on the Terraform resource that we are talking about. Then we have create before destroy. Create before destroy, make sure that when you make any change to the resource and it needs to recreate the resource, so this will make sure that your new resource will be created first and then the previous resource will be destroyed. So let's say you have an EC2 instance, you are changing something in that, you are changing the AMI of EC2. Now to make that change, Terraform has to recreate that resource. So if you have create before destroy enabled, that means the new EC2 instance with the newer AMID will be created first and then the old one will be destroyed. This will make sure that you have minimum downtime of your application, because it will not wait for the new resource to be created. Once it is created, only then it will make the changes. Then we have prevent destroy. What it will do, prevent destroy will make sure that you do not do any accidental deletion of resources. For example, you have an S3 bucket that is being managed by Terraform, but you don't want anyone to accidentally delete it. So you enable prevent destroy on that bucket, and it will not be deleted unless and until someone just update this lifecycle rule to false. Okay, so it will avoid any accidental deletions. Then we have replace triggered by. Replace triggered by set the dependencies between multiple resources. Like, you have created a resource. So let's say you have this resource over here, um, and we creating a dependency to other resource. So this resource could be your EC2, okay, and this resource could be your security group rules. So what we are saying, whenever there is any change in this security group rule, replace EC2 instance with a newer instance. So we are actually creating a replace triggered by lifecycle rule, and this replace will be triggered by any changes in the SG rules, security group rules, right? Then we have pre and post conditions. So you can add certain validations before creating your resource, whether it is an allowed resource or not. Like, you are creating a resource in US East 1, but that location is not allowed for you to provision the resources. So you can add that as a pre-check. Similarly, post condition, after the resource has been created, it will perform certain checks and throw you the error, like what is the issue with that. Okay, so now we'll practice each of these resources one by one. Let's go to the VS Code. I have day 9 folder. I have copied everything from the previous video, and we can just start writing in.tf. So let's create a resource of type EC2 instance, AWS instance, right? And yeah, I don't want a lot of metadata, so let's just use example. And what we need an AMI. So AMI, we can take it from the documentation. So let's say AWS AMI Linux. Okay, let's go to this page, and if you scroll down, okay, this will show you the AMI of the latest release, which is this one. Okay, and US East one, this is what I need, so I'm just gonna copy the AMID from here and let's put it over here. Okay, so that's the AMID. Now I need instance type as well, and I already have a variable with the instance type. So let's see what was the variable name. There is allowed region, and then there is allowed VM type, in which there is a list of string with multiple VM types. Okay, so let's take this instance type equal to var dot allowed VM types. Okay, and let's take the value of 1, and similarly you can add the region. For region as well, we have var dot allowed region. Let's see if this is what we need. um Allowed region, actually this is a set of strings, so we cannot use it directly, we have to convert that into list. Okay, so let's go back and let's do to list, and I believe this is correct. Let's just quickly validate this if we are missing anything, or let's add tags as well. var.tags. So tf, in which folder I am, day09 tf plan. Okay, it says to plan to add, but it is that it is adding, it is creating an S3 bucket. What, why? Maybe I'm not running it from, oh, I have another file over here, so let me just comment it. Okay, let's go back and let's run tf plan again. Now it says one plan to add, and I hope this is the EC2 instance. Oh no, it says deleting the resources because I already have some S3 buckets created from the previous video, right? So let me just delete it. Let's call it day08 tf destroy fun auto approve. And did it also show what it is adding? Let's see, it's deleting. So there are these minus signs, right? These are not hyphens, these are like suggesting that it's been deleted. If the newer resources will be there, there'll be a plus in front of it. So I'll show you for the new resource. Let's, you see over here, so there is plus, and what resource is this? This is the instance that we were creating, AWS instance. Okay, so yeah, it's taking T2 small, and then EU West one, which would be as per this allowed regions. So let's go back to allowed regions. Let's choose region. There's a variable for region as well, or you can change the region to US West one. No, wait, there's allowed region. Yeah, so it is taking this one, US West 2. We don't need that. Let's go back, main.tf. Where was it? EU West 1. Why it is showing EU West 1? It should be US West 1. Loud region 0, which is US East 1. But over here it is showing EU West 1. Okay, so why it is doing that? We need to find out. Maybe there is, like, do we have anything with EU? Yeah, EU West 1 is 0 1 2, second element, and over here it's 0th element, so something is not adding up. Maybe it's an assignment for you. Let me know in the comments if you are able to find why it is doing that. You see, var.allowed region, I'm setting 0th element, and still, like, let me run the tf plan again. Okay, so am I using the correct folder? Oh, I went back again to day 08. Let me run tf plan one more time. Sorry, be with me. Okay, one plan to add. That's good. Now EU West 1. So you see the region over here is EU West 1. But over here we have used var.allowed region at the 0th location, and which is from here it should be this one, US East 1, which is the 0th element. But maybe it is doing that because it's a set. So when it, okay, let me tell you, I think that is the issue, but I want you to still figure it out. From my understanding, it is because we are using set. In set, the sequence of element doesn't matter. For set, there is no sequence. You can just put anything and then it will take the different element. And then when we are converting it to list, only then it is taking the value, but it has already sorted those values as per its understanding, right? So maybe that's why. So let's go back and I'm gonna just change it to var.region. Okay, so let's run tf plan again. Okay, let's see. US East 1, it is coming fine now. Now what we need is, now we need to test out the lifecycle rule. So let's add lifecycle and create before destroy equal to true. What it will do, whenever we are making any change, any destructive change, then it will make sure the resource is created before we destroy it. So let's say, okay, for that we need to apply the changes first and create the instance. So, or approve, and it might take some time, so I'm just gonna pause the recording till then. Oh, it is throwing example. It says AMI ID does not found. We are using US East 1 region, and over here is, I think it's US East 1 is North Virginia. So let's verify it from here. North Virginia is US East 1, yeah. So I'm gonna just take a different AMI ID. Okay, and let's apply the changes again. Okay, now it is creating it, so I'm just gonna pause the recording for now. Okay, so this is completed now. The instance has been created, and if I, let's first do this, let's first change it to false. That means the instance will be destroyed first, or in parallel to the other instance, the newer instance is created. Okay, so let's go ahead and take any other AMI. Maybe I'll take a different release. So this is release 2018-03, and let's take 2017. I'm not sure why we have so many so old releases, but let's take the instance ID and update it. Oh, is it the same? Maybe AMID does not change over the release. So this, oh no, it's still 2018. Okay, but I click 2017 release notes. Okay, so AMID is the same. Okay, so let's take maybe this one over here with instance store. Okay, and now you see the create before destroy is false. That means the resource should be destroyed first. So if I run tf apply now, let's see what's gonna happen. Okay, you see it is destroying first, and it has not started creating the instance because we have create before destroy false. That means it will destroy it first and then it will create the new resource. So this will introduce some downtime because your application is getting destroyed first and then it is provisioning a new resource. So let me just pause the video while it's doing its work. Now it has one more issue. I'll tell you what. So it destroyed the resource, okay, over here. the destruction is completed, and then it started creating the newer instance with the updated AMI ID. But there is some error. For example, there is a bad request that image is not authorized to be provisioned. So due to that error, it did not create the resource and it destroyed the existing ones. So your users will face downtime, right? So that's why it should always be true, create before destroy. So to avoid any issues, let me just update the image version as well, which is, let's keep it back, this one. Okay, and let me apply the changes. So that was the first one, which is create before destroy. Now the second one is, let's see over here, we have create before destroy, and then we have ignore changes, we have prevent destroy. Okay, so let's try using this prevent destroy. Okay, so resources completed, and we can add more lifecycle rules in the same block, right? So let's add prevent destroy equal to true. Oops, not false. Prevent destroy equal to true. So basically what we are doing, we are saying to Terraform that if someone try to destroy this resource, block that. Okay, so even if there is any destructible operation, like if we have changed the AMI name or AMI ID, which enforces the instance to be recreated, that will also be blocked because it needs instance to be recreated, and we are preventing the destroy operation. So if now I run terraform destroy, okay, it says refreshing state, and then it throws the error that instance cannot be destroyed. Why? Because it has a lifecycle prevent destroy set, but the plan calls for this resource to be destroyed. To avoid this, either set the prevent destroy to false or reduce the scope. So when we are running this, we are destroying everything in this folder. Okay, but we can also set the target with this hyphen target option, but we only have one resource, so we don't need to do that. So that was the other one, which is prevent destroy. Then we have, let's say, replace triggered by. For that, let me just add a couple of more resources. So over here somewhere, I was just testing this out earlier before the recording, so I'm just gonna take something from here. There are a lot of examples actually, but don't worry, these all will be there in the task.md file as well. Okay, and ignore changes. Okay, let's take this. Okay, let's go to main.tf, and I'm just gonna uncomment everything. So there is a launch template, and then there is image id. Let's take the image id that we took earlier. The reason why I'm updating is because we have not covered data sources, so that's why. And then we have instance type, so var dot allowed vm types 1 tags. Remove this part again because we have not covered merge function yet, so let's just use var dot tags. Okay, and then we have an auto scaling group which says minimum size is 1, maximum size is 5, desired capacity is 2. Availability zones, I'm gonna update this to var dot allowed region. Var dot allowed region, oh, what was that? That was availability zones, right? Yeah, so it should be an availability zone, not the instance. And okay, it's not a mandatory field, so let's skip it. Let's remove this. Or you can write every availability zone from US East 1 region, because that's the region we have used. That's all right. And now this is launch template details. Okay, let's use these tags, that's fine. Okay, so this is what we are doing. So we are using ignore changes on desired capacity. Okay, so what it will do, Terraform won't try to revert the capacity changes made outside of Terraform. That means if someone updated the capacity, like desired capacity from auto scaling group, which is 2, someone updated it from outside the Terraform, let's say from the auto scaling group, it won't make the changes over here. It won't revert the changes over here, because we are saying ignore changes desired capacity. That means this desired capacity field is allowed to be updated externally. Okay, so I'll show you that as well. Let's run terraform apply over here. Okay, let it provision the instance, auto scaling group, instance template, everything, and then we'll come back to this. Okay, it is throwing some error that auto scaling group availability zone is a mandatory field. So yeah, it's not optional, it is a mandatory field. Let's try to add it over here. I believe it was, yeah, in the auto scaling group. And we were checking in the documentation, we were checking in the AWS instance. So that's why it was not showing it. But yeah, over here we need it. So I've added all the availability zones. Now let's run it again. Okay, it is creating, so let it create and then we'll come back to this. Okay, it did those changes, it's applied. So let's go over here on the console. Let's search for auto scaling group over here, and why it is not showing anything. Okay, let's see if the EC2 instances are provisioned yet. Yeah, it says 5 instances are running, which is app server ASG. Yeah, these 4 instances, and there was 1 2 3 4. Okay, 5th one is initializing. So these are the 5 instances that's been provisioned. And if you go to auto scaling group over here somewhere, okay, this is the auto scaling group. It has instances 2 desired, 1 minimum, 5 maximum. Okay, so let's go over here and let's try to make the change. Let's change from desired from 2 to 1. Let's update it. Okay, so the desired has been updated over here. Go back. This one. Okay, desired is 1, scaling is 1 to 5. So that means if there's nothing that is running, one instance will be up because it's scheduled. One is desired. Now there are more instances because they yeah, this instance is a different one. Yeah, this is my EKS instance for some other video I have created, and yeah, this one as well is a different one. So for this particular demo we have these 3 instances, which is app ASG, dev instance, and this one, right? Because these 3 are the only instances those were created right now. Yeah, actually 2 instances. This instance also was created earlier, I did not destroy it. Okay, so these 2, app server ASG and app server ASG, these 2 instances were created. But then now that I have updated the desired capacity to 1, it deleted 1 instance. Now it only has 1 instance, you see over here, and we can see that in auto scaling group as well. So go to auto scaling group, app server ASG, and instance refresh. Okay, not this one, instance management. So you see it only has 1 instance over here. And activity, so this was the recent activity which says terminating the instance because desired capacity changed from 2 to 1. Now if we go back over here, because we had a lifecycle rule which says ignore changes on desired capacity, right? So if we have updated the change over there, but if we run Terraform apply over here again, so ideally without the lifecycle rule, this should update the desired capacity to 2 again, because in the Terraform file we have desired capacity as 2, right? So let's see what it's gonna do. So it's refreshing state and no changes. Your infrastructure matches the configuration. Why? Because we have ignored those changes simply, right? So let's destroy these ones and let's move ahead. Auto approve. Okay. So the next one is we have covered ignore changes, create before destroy, prevent destroy. Now look into replace triggered by. So again, I'm just gonna, okay, what says instance cannot be destroyed because we have a life cycle rule. So let's remove the life cycle rule, which is prevent destroy. Either we can remove it or set it to false. Okay, let's destroy again. And for the next life cycle rule, we need another sample from here, which is, let's say, this is prevent destroy. We have covered it. Create before destroy is also done. That's precondition, post condition. Okay, here it is. Replace triggered by. And in main.tf, is it still, yeah, it's still destroying the resources. That's okay. And let's do one thing. Let's delete everything and paste it over here. Okay, and I'm just gonna uncomment all those lines. So what it is doing, it is creating a security group. Okay, so that's a security group over here that is allowing ingress traffic on port 80 from anywhere, and also on port 443, and egress on all the protocols to everything like to internet 0000. And then we have an EC2 instance that get replaced when security group changes. So there is this EC2 instance resource over here. Again, you can replace the AMI ID over here, and let's take it from this. Okay, and it has instance type, which is var dot allowed VM types 0, security group IDs, which is AWS security group, which is this one dot _app_sg, which is there, and then dot id, and then tags. And here we have added the lifecycle rule, which says replace triggered by, okay, AWS security group dot _app_sg dot id. That means whenever there is any changes in this resource over here, it will replace this resource, which is EC2 instance. Okay, now it is throwing some error. Let's see why it is doing that. Say unclose configuration block, there is no close bracket, maybe we are missing a bracket somewhere. Let's see. So that's for ingress, that's for ingress, that's for egress. Yeah, over here. Yep, that's cool. And then we have security group. Yeah, so yeah, I'm not applying the changes, but you can test it out and you will know like what does it actually mean and how does it actually work. But create all these resources, and as soon as you make any changes to the security group, it will force the recreation of instance, so you need to try it out. Okay, now the next one is precondition and post condition. Okay, so in precondition and post condition, let me just take a few example from here. Actually, I'm just going to test precondition and then you can test the post condition from the, because it's the same thing, right? So let's copy this resource from here. Okay, again it's missing dot. Okay, so what it is doing, first let me fix the error. That's for life cycle, and then there is missing for this one as well. Okay, so what it is doing, it's creating an S3 resource with the internal name compliance bucket, and then the bucket name will be compliance bucket hyphen var environment hyphen allowed region one, whatever it is. Okay, and then there are tags, and then there is the life cycle rule that says there is this precondition. Okay, oh, I've taken the post condition. So okay, let's try it out. That's fine. post condition. Okay, so you can have a precondition or you can have a post condition. Now in those condition you will have a condition and error message. Condition is what it needs to check. Okay, so it's check contains, which is a function. We haven't covered the function yet, but we'll cover it at some point. For now, just understand contains check if this value, okay, which is self.tags, which I have not have it over here, so let's just change it to keys.var.tags. I'm not sure if it's gonna work because it should have been a map, but let's see, we'll see. Okay, it says var.tags compliance should be there in this list of tags. Okay, that's what it is, checking the condition, and if that condition is not satisfied, it will throw an error, bucket must have compliance tag for audit purpose. Okay, so let's run 𝗵𝗆apply, and let me just use the shortcut. I'm not sure why it's not showing it, but that's all right. We can just type it. Okay, what does it say? It says a var.allowed region is a set of strings, that's why it is not able to get it from there. So let's just use var.region, or else we have to convert that into a list to get the value. Okay, I'm sure the data types would be clear by now, and rest of the things will cover everything, don't worry about it. Okay, now it says var.text is a map of string with 3 elements, and it says yeah, post condition failed. It says keys var dot compliance, bucket must have compliance. I'm not sure if this is because, let me check if this is correct. Contains keys. Yeah, we don't need keys, I believe, over here, or do we? Contains var dot, it should be var dot tags. No, it is saying, yeah, we need to use keys. So yeah, it clearly suggests that post check failed. So let's try to add another tag in the list. Here the tags are, so compliance equal to yes. Okay, let's use that, and let's run 𝗵𝗆apply again. Okay, now it worked, because we have added a post check that bucket name should contain the tag which is compliance, and then only it will create, otherwise it will block the execution. Okay, so that's what it did. Now let's try to check the precondition as well. Okay, precondition could be something like maybe bucket name should have these things, or similarly like tag, you can check if the allowed region, the region in which we are creating the bucket, is allowed or not. Okay, so try to add those examples, and if you want to test, everything is there in the like the task.md file of day, which day was it, day 9 folder. So have we covered all of those? Precondition, post condition, yeah, we have covered almost all the life cycle rules. So make sure you go to day 9, and over there will be code as well of what we have done so far, and there'll be something extra as well. And then there is task.md, which will basically says, yeah, I mean, whatever you have learned from the video, just try to practice it, and these are all the things that you need to test it out by yourself. All the notes, all the code snippets, everything will be there, but you need to practice it. Okay, make sure you practice it, otherwise you will forget everything that we have learned so far. So yeah, that's it for this video as well. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you tomorrow, and have a good day. Take care. Bye bye.